Welcome to this tutorial where I will show how you can incorporate spatial to your app development in Apex. Apex is a low-code framework which operates on the Oracle database itself. This will be done completely using the Oracle Cloud free tier. So you can go ahead and sign up for an Oracle Cloud account and try this lab out yourself and also keep these resources for free. This is the shorter tutorial, but I will link the extended tutorial which shows all of the steps of inserting the data and so on in the description below. Before we head into the demo, let's take a look at how the architecture is for this lab. So we are actually using the Autonomous Database free tier version with 20 GB and 1 node CPU. And inside of that instance, Apex is running. So it's taking up the resources of that database, Autonomous Database. So we actually don't need a web server here. It's all maintained on a database level. In Apex, we will take advantage of a plugin which uses Oracle Maps and Oracle JavaScript API. So we can actually build in maps and also take advantage of the different features which we can display on that Oracle map. And what we're gonna end up with, hopefully, is an interactive web application and more specifically a GIS web application. So let's head into the Apex environment. So I have already inserted some data which is shown in the full video. So I have some customers here and also some warehouses which I will I will display and essentially do some spatial analysis on. So what I have also done is that I have installed a sample geolocation showcase, which you can install from the app gallery here. And I have downloaded a plugin, which is called Oracle Maps from that. And say now I want to create an application where I want to display my map. So I will call this, let's call it map application, just for tests. You can go ahead and change your appearance, add pages. In my case, I will just start with a home page, which is included, and some of the pages you can add to the application, like access control and theme styler and feedback button. So let's go ahead and create that. You can now see the designer tool where you do the programming, and I can just run the application. Apex. I will log in. Apex is my user. It's just blank. So say now, well, I want a map here. So what I'm gonna do then is to import the plugin that I exported from Geolocation Showcase. So I will click import plugin, choose file. So I already saved it locally on my computer here, and open, next, install it into my new application, correct, install. And there we go, it's done. What you need to do as of now as well is to go into shared components and go to application definition attributes and uncheck friendly URLs. It's a new feature and unfortunately it's disturbing the plugin. Hopefully this will be fixed shortly. So you could create a new page with this plugin. I will use the home page And essentially what I'm gonna do is to go to content body, create region, name it map, and select the plugin here. Let's have it empty for now, just to showcase. And there we go, we have a map without actually entering any script, JavaScript or anything. We have a map. So it's an Oracle map. So you can go ahead. I would like, for example, to scroll on this map. This is not possible. I'm scrolling. It's not possible. So what you have then is essentially some attributes here on the map. Here you can go ahead and set map center when the user log in, initial zoom level. If you want another map layer, OpenStreetMap say. In my case, I will go down and I will check, I want a scale bar and I want mouse wheel zoom, save. And we run it. And nice, I can now scroll zoom. I like that. But this is a clean map with no data. As I showed you in the beginning, we had customers and warehouses, and I now want to display that data in my application. What I will do then is go to the map region and I will enter a SQL query. In my case, I have a cheat sheet with some predefined SQL queries I prepared. This kind of data is actually available in my longer video, so go ahead and go there if you're interested in the data and the queries. So just to check here, I validated it. So we select the warehouse ID as ID, and we have a geometry column which we set as geometry, and we style this in red. And I select this data from warehouses. So I want to display essentially all warehouses. I press OK. I save. Let's see if we see something. Great. We now mapped our warehouses. Okay, that's good, sure. Let's add information also. I want to see what are these warehouses. What we can do then is say add another region, and this I want to call it warehouse information. You can select what type. I want a classic report. You could select the table name. In my case, I will do an SQL query because I'm interested in certain columns. So I will open my cheat sheet again, and let's see, I'm actually this one. So I want to select, and actually this tool is quite nice because it will check so your query is successful and check that you're selecting correct data and everything. So if I spell this wrong, it will identify it. So I'm not location ID, not really interested. Let's do like that. Okay. Let's see. Oh, this is weird. Let's start over. Okay, should be good. Was a kind of a bug there. Okay, great. I now see we have one in San Francisco. Yep. Seattle. Yep. Okay, that's great. Now I want some more interactive. I want to add some interactive feature to this. So I go to edit page. Say I want to display a certain warehouse when I select it. Okay, so I will add a page item. And we can call this one, in the document I call it P2 new actually in my cheat sheet, so go ahead with that, maybe not the best name. Select list, so choose warehouse, for example. Actually, you know what, I just realized we need to add this. So in order to, what I like to do when creating this is to create a list of values first. So in this case of the warehouses. So you go to shared components here, call it warehouses. Next, table warehouses, that's correct. And return a display column. The display, I want to display the warehouse name, and when the user select it, I want to return the ID to my program. Perfect. So now it will actually save and refresh. We will lose the select list there, but I will head back and I will be persistent. I will create the page item again. So what did we say? P2 new, and we want it to be a select list. Choose warehouse. And we're back. And what I can now do here, you could just do a SQL query. I prefer to add it as a shared component, and then you simply just select that shared component we just created. So save. Let's see now. Oh, the zoom. Okay, great. Nothing happened. And that's because we have actually just created a select list, but we haven't implied any action. So what we need to do here, say we want to show on the map the selected warehouse, we need to add a where statement, right? So we need to add where, and then I think, let me see, warehouse ID, I think I have the cheat sheet here, of course. Yep, indeed, warehouse ID. And so I will just go ahead and add that. What is neat, this one will identify if anything is incorrect, but it seems to be good, right? So I will say where I want to show the warehouses where warehouse ID is P2 new. And that's essentially the value of our select list. And then we need to do a second thing, and that's actually to refresh that map once we select a warehouse. So then we have something called dynamic action. We can call it warehouse, for example, map. Oh, let's call it warehouse select. And when it's changed, I want this to happen, correct. And what I want to is essentially to refresh a region, my map region. Okay, sounds good, sounds good. Okay, map is now empty. And when I select San Francisco, okay, something is not clicking in there. Let's see again. I maybe need to send the page item. Let's see if that was the issue. Always interesting, this change. We have the refresh. I'm just gonna be bold and say that was the issue. So I actually need to send that page item. Yes, it was. So we can now see it's appearing on the map. However, the list is reflecting all warehouses. So if you want to address the same kind of solution on our report, we just add actually the same line to our query. We don't forget this time to add P2 new to send that information to the query. And we add another refresh, but this time we refresh the warehouse information. We check again. We take Seattle, and indeed the report now show the Seattle information. Not a whole lot of information. Hopefully you have some more information about the thing you want to display. And lastly, I would just like to show you how you can add spatial analysis, because actually in our database we have spatial analysis, different algorithms which we can go ahead and use, since we're actually using the Oracle database, which is really nice. So I have something here. It's called student exercise. It was a student exercise I was thinking the students should come up with. So we have a query here. Let's copy that, but let's head back to our application. So in this case, I will go ahead and create a new region, a report. And I want it to be SQL query. And here we go. So I copy paste. So essentially it's a select, and I select C, which stands in this case here for customers, but I also use warehouses. So I want the information from customer, where the warehouse ID match the selected warehouse, and then it will use this within distance search, you could say, or actually this algorithm searches for the closest, in this case, the closest customers to this selected warehouse. It's 5 customers. I like to increase this number to 15, say, so we get a proper list. You can check this validated, and we click OK. Don't forget, we need to send the page object. And you know it by now, add another refresh to that report we just stated. Region. Actually here, now we call it new. Instead of new, you should probably have something, you should probably name it customer, closest customer, right? That's essentially what we are listing. Let's see if the refresh updates also, so the name is correct. So if you now go play, okay, and we select, say, South Lake, we actually list the customers that are closest to South Lake. So if we instead change that to Sussex, it updates with new customers. So that's a quite neat features. So yeah, the possibilities is endless. I showed how you actually can go from 0 to a working Apex application, not only creating a map, but an interactive map that uses some spatial analysis to find the closest customers to a warehouse. Now it's up to you to enhance this application. Thanks for listening.